Picture a steering committee meeting. Multi-million-dollar program. The launch just got delayed 6 months. The COO looks around the room and asks one question: how did we end up here? And nobody looks at the project manager. Not because they forgot who was in charge, but because 4 months earlier, that PM had told them exactly how they would end up here, in writing with the numbers to back it up. And nobody added on it. That PM was me. That delay wasn't my failure. It was a decision someone above me made when they had every chance to make a different one. And the only reason I walked out of that room with my credibility intact is because I had done one thing right. This video is about what I did in those 4 months before everything went sideways, and the exact documentation that make it impossible for anyone to point a finger at me when it did. If you're sitting on a risk right now that someone above you is ignoring, watch this to the end. Let me give you the context. This was a multi-million-dollar SaaS implementation program, one of the multiple phases. The phase I'm talking about was built around UAT, which stands for User Acceptance Testing. That's the stage where you put people from the business and operation sides into a test environment to check if the system actually works the way it's supposed to work before you go live. The problem with UAT is that it requires real people, real hours, and real focus. And this company was not built for that. It was a operations-heavy organization. Everyone had a day job. Nobody has bandwidth to spare. 4 months before the UAT was scheduled to start, I started doing the math. I sat down with every workstream lead on the program. We went through the scope together. We estimated the remaining UAT work, what type of expertise each task required, and how many hours each workstream actually needed. When I added it all up, the number was clear. We needed 6 more full-time people dedicated to UAT to hit the launch day. 6 more, not 6 hours a week from internal staff, 6 more people, focused, with testing experience. My recommendation was to bring in QA contractors, people who knew how to write test cases and run tests from day one. And I put the cost-benefit case in writing. Contractor fees versus the cost of a delayed launch, extended vendor contracts, and ongoing subscription costs while we sat in UAT longer than planned. That math wasn't close. I escalated it to my executive sponsor. I put it in the risk register. I included it in my monthly budget and forecast reports. I followed twice over the next 2 months. The response was that they would work with the business teams to find internal resources. Here's what I knew would happen, and did. The business team couldn't give us what we needed. The people had day jobs. Some workstreams got 1 person and maybe 50 capacity. That means instead of 6 more full-time contributors, I effectively had a fraction of that, spread across people who weren't context switching between the project and their actual responsibilities. They also didn't have testing experience. Writing a test case and running it correctly takes training. We were losing time on both ends, speed and quality. When we hit the UAT phase, we ran into exactly the issues I had projected. Defects not caught on time, testing cycles running longer than planned, the feedback loop with the vendor slowing everything down. The steering committee made the call, 6 months delay on the launch. And I was in that room when the CEO asked how we ended up here. Here's what did not happen. Nobody turned to me. Nobody asked why I hadn't flagged it, because the answer was already documented and they knew it. If you're building toward your first PM role and you want to know what good PM judgment looks like in an interview, this is it. A story like this one I just walked you through is exactly what hiring managers are looking for. I put together a free guide covering the 5 stories every PM candidate needs ready before their first interview. The link is in the description. Grab it after this video. That outcome, the delay, was the result of a decision made above me. My job was to identify the risk, quantify it, present options with trade-offs, and escalate. I did all of that. What I couldn't do was make a decision for them. That's what separates PMs who get blamed from PMs who don't. It's not about working harder or flagging more risks. It's about making sure every risk you raise becomes a decision on record, not just a concern on file. When I walked into that steering committee meeting, I didn't have to say anything to defend myself. The documentation spoke first. the risk register entry, the resource analysis with workstream by workstream breakdowns, the forecast report that show the flag month after month. Document first, define never. Most PMs wait for the crisis and then try to reconstruct the paper trail from memory. That never works. By the time the meeting happens, the framing is already set. Someone else is already writing the narrative. Your job is to write it before they do. So let me walk you through the 3 specific things I did that make it impossible for anyone to rewrite my part of the story. The first one is to quantify the risk before you escalate it. Don't walk into a sponsor's office with a feeling. Walk in with a number. I sat with every workstream lead and calculated exactly how many hours UAT required, what expertise was needed, and how many people that translated to. 6 more full-time resources. That number was specific enough to add on and specific enough to be held accountable to. Vague risks get vague responses. Specific risks demand a specific decision. The second one is to document the decision, not just the risk. Getting the risk into the register is not enough. What matters is capturing the decision that was made in response to that. In my forecast reports and status updates, I noted the recommendation, the option that was chosen, and who made the call. When the delay happened, the records show that the risk was known, the options were presented, and the decision to proceed without contractors was made about me. That's not just a paper trail, that's a shield. The third one is to keep showing up with the update. I follow up twice after the initial escalation, not to nag, but to keep the risk visible and current. Every month it appeared in the forecast. Every update gave leadership another chance to add. And every follow-up I sent became another timestamp showing I had not dropped it. When someone asks, why didn't you raise this earlier, you need more than 1 date on record. So before you close this video, open your current project and look at your risk register. Find the risk you've already flagged that hasn't been added on. Ask yourself 3 questions. Did you quantify it with a specific number? Did you document the decision that was made in response? Have you followed up at least twice with a timestamp on record? If any of those answers is no, that's worth fixing. Not because something has gone wrong yet, but because the best time to build a paper trail is before you need it. You are not responsible for every decision made above you. You're responsible for making sure those decisions are made with full information and on the record. Do that consistently and no one will ever be able to rewrite your part of the story. If you're working hard toward your first PM role, this is exactly the kind of story that wins PM interviews. The free guide in the description covers 4 more like it. And if you want a full picture of what it takes to protect your credibility and keep your sanity as a practicing PM, I covered 10 rules that make that possible in a previous video. Link is in description. I'll see you in the next one.